Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. And in this week's local news, Addison Township firefighters get assistance. And an Oxford police officer goes out of his way for a fallen fellow officer.
Stay tuned and learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. A Leonard man and a 15-year-old girl from Washington Township were hit by a car while riding their bikes on Rochester Road. The driver is nowhere to be found. Witnesses say that the vehicle was an older SUV. Both victims were transported to the local Oakland County Hospital, and the young lady was treated and released. The man is still in the hospital and is listed in stable condition. If anyone knows anything about this hit and run, please contact Oakland County Sheriff's Office near you.
A daytime garage fire off Lakeville Road had Addison Township Fire Department depending on the Oxford Township Department for an assist. Although the 3,000 square foot garage fire resulted in a total loss, Addison Township Fire Chief Jerry Morosky said it could have been worse without Oxford's assistance. The chief said due to a shortage of daytime firefighters, a fire of this size would have been too large to handle without the assistance. The chief said that the cause of the fire appeared to be electrical and the owner was using the building for housing his construction equipment. The contents were a complete loss.
Sheriff's deputies were called to a local fast food restaurant on a complaint that a person using the drive-through food service window exposed himself to the cashier working at the window. And according to the cashier, this is not the first time that this man has done this. The cashier reported that on other occasions she failed to inform her boss. This time, however, she was able to write down the license number of the car the man was in. Therefore, officers traced the plate to a Metamora address where a man meeting that description was found. The man is under investigation for further indecent exposure charges.
An unlicensed man gave sheriff deputies a run for their money last week, chasing him down after he crashed his vehicle into someone else's front yard. The man was out on bond for domestic abuse. Officers found shotgun shells and 2 straight-edge knives in his truck and a handgun they believe was thrown out of the window during the chase.
Oxford High School's football roster took a hit after school officials learned that about 20 athletes were party drinking and using drugs at 2 different homes on September 20th and 21st. Officials say that it was reported that parents were present at the illegal activities. None of the parties were endorsed by the school, nor were any of the parties held on school property. According to Athletic Code of Ethics agreement, a first offense results in 1/3 suspension of the regularly scheduled sports contests. Therefore, all the students, athletes were suspended from competition from 3 games.
McLaren Oakland Health on North Lapeer Road is no longer an urgent care facility, but now offers convenient care only, which means that the facility will no longer treat severe wounds, a life-threatening condition, or anything else that might need urgent care. Those patients will now be transferred via ambulance to an urgent care outside of the community. The local facility will, however, continue to receive walk-ins of fevers, coughs, sore throats, and minor lacerations and bumps and bruises.
It is a fact law enforcement officers never forget one of their own. That's why Oxford Village Police Sergeant Mike Solwald made it a personal mission to see to it that an officer killed in the line of duty back in 1925 is finally recognized. The officer was John J. Gould. Gould was the Oxford Village watchman from April 14, 1924 until February 13, 1925, when on that fateful February evening, John was shot and killed by a close-up shotgun wound to his side. Back in 1925, a witness told police that Officer Gould was standing in front of the Oxford Savings Bank building on the corner of Washington and West Burdick Street, and he was talking to several people inside the large pulled over automobile. Police later found the car abandoned with a flat tire, but with no trace of the occupants. The crime has never been solved, and that is in itself is upsetting to village officer Sowald. But what he finds even more upsetting is that the grave marker has never been placed over Officer Gould's final resting place. He can't believe that Gould's grave has been unmarked for so many years. Now Mike is working with Huntoon Funeral Home in Oxford to purchase a headstone for the forgotten officer. Sergeant Sowald would like to see a memorial plaque placed at the old bank building, and so many people unaware of the officer that many years ago gave up his all for Oxford. Contact Oxford Village Police Officer Mike Sowald if you would like to help pay for the tribute to Officer John Gould. Call 248-628-2581 and ask, of course, to speak to Sergeant Mike Sowald. I'm sure he will be appreciative of your call. Go ahead, do your
Mike
intro.
Sowald is such a good guy. He's a great, upstanding member of the community. It's always nice to see him around, and I'm not even surprised that he's doing this.
No, and I'm not either.
He's a
And you
great
know,
guy.
being new to the community a few years ago, Mike was one of the first officers that I met on a good term. That was a problem.
He didn't have to pull you over, huh?
Didn't have to pull me over, didn't have
that's
to
nice.
lecture me or anything, but he has been a very, very visible individual, you know, in the community.
Very caring, too. He came over to my home one time to tell me that he had to stop my mother for driving too fast through town, and he was concerned that she was driving a little bit faster than she probably should at her age. What a good guy.
Could be genetics.
That could be it, too.
Okay. What about
So-
school board?
School board, we've got a lot of elections coming up, but we are going to cover a school board forum so that people can meet the potential board members in the community, and that's on October 14th at 7 o'clock at Boulder Point.
And there's going to be 4 seats available, I understand, but there's 9 people that want to be seated.
Yeah, right.
So you folks out there should attend this program that they're going to have. Mike Spiz, I understand, is going to be the commentator, you know, and interface with each of these
Right.
individuals as they present themselves to the community.
Totally organized by Rod Charles.
Yeah.
I think I heard him say at the end of the Lone Ranger Parade that was it. He wasn't going to do anything else for a while. Rod Charles has put this together, and he says it is not a debate, that it's just purely to meet the candidates.
Rod, of course, is another one that's very active in the
Yeah.
community and on the Downtown Development Authority and other things, but
Yeah.
and very, I mean, really instrumental in the Lone Ranger, you know, program. But by the way, if the citizenship out there want to reach somebody to learn more about this, all they have to do is call.
Rod Charles at 248-371-9100. And that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, stop by a local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or watch us on OCTV, Oxford News This Week.
And coming up next on OCTV, Oxford Local Sports with Andy Curtis, Oxford School News with John Ochins, and join us with Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny. Now,
That's it for Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, and we are bringing your news closer to home.
and I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, according to General Motors, the 2015 Trax Chevrolet 7th small vehicle launched in the past 4 years will start at a retail price of $20,995, including shipping. The crossover will go on sale in the U.S. for the first time this January, available in LS, LT, and LTZ trim levels. Chevrolet has already sold 155,000 Trax models to date in 66 markets globally. The new vehicle has a standard 1.4-liter turbocharged engine with an EPA estimated 26 city and 34 highway miles per gallon. The Trax has 10 airbags, a rear-view camera, remote keyless entry, remote start, and a 60/40 split fold-flat rear seat and fold-down front passenger seat that gives drivers more than 48 cubic feet of storage space. The Trax also offers a $1,500 all-wheel drive option, which makes it the most affordable all-wheel drive Chevrolet model. The car has a 7-inch touchscreen MyLink system and OnStar 4G LTE with a Wi-Fi hotspot. Trax is also the first in its class to offer Siri voice control for iPhone users. The Trax is priced under the Chevrolet Equinox crossover, which starts at over $25,000, including shipping. And big news at Chrysler. Fiat Chrysler Automobiles says it plans to double the size of the Chrysler brand's lineup by the end of 2018 and eliminate 2 Dodge nameplates to settle a long-running internal turf war between the brands. The Chrysler mark is being positioned as the company's mainstream North American brand to take on mass-market offerings from Ford, Chevrolet, Hyundai, and others, says Al Gardner, the brand's CEO. The mark will gain a compact sedan, the 100 in 2016, a full-size crossover in 2017, and a mid-size crossover in 2018. The Chrysler Town & Country will become Fiat Chrysler's only minivan when it is redesigned in 2016. Gardner said the Dodge Grand Caravan will be discontinued at the same time. A plug-in hybrid version of the Town & Country is also planned for 2016. Meanwhile, the recently redesigned Chrysler 200 will be Fiat Chrysler's only mainstream midsize sedan as the Dodge Avenger goes away after the current model year. The unnamed full-size crossover planned for 2017 will be offered as a plug-in hybrid. The 200 is scheduled to be freshened in 2017, and a redesign for the 300 sedan, which was freshened this year, is planned for 2018. And over at Mazda, Ikuyo Maeda, Mazda Motor Corporation's global design chief, who designed the RX-8 sports car and whose father penned the RX-7, wants to resurrect the signature RX series. Maeda emphasized that nothing has been decided, but added it can't be done without a new rotary engine. The brand's new fuel-injected Skyactiv engines, despite being clean and sporty, just won't do, he said. The name is RX, he said. In Mazda's nomenclature, the R stands for rotary. And therein lies the hitch. Mazda engineers are still struggling to update the brand's compact and powerful yet fuel-thirsty rotary engine to meet today's emission rules. Mazda retired the RX-8 in 2012 amid slumping sales. Part of the problem is demand. Last year, CEO Masamichi Kogai said sales would have to total 100,000 units a year to justify a revival, but the engine is also a conundrum. Mazda engineers have been trying to improve the rotary engine since at least 2007, when the Japanese car maker unveiled a next-generation design at the Tokyo Motor Show. Plans to use it as a main power plant in a vehicle are still all but frozen, but research continues on the back burner. So all you RX-8 fans, keep your money in your pocket. And on the recall front, Toyota Motor Corporation said it would recall about 690,000 Tacoma 4x4 and Tacoma pre-runner pickup trucks in the U.S. to fix issues with the vehicle's rear suspension system. The involved vehicle's rear suspension system contains leaf springs that are constructed of either 3 or 4 leaves. There's a possibility that a leaf could fracture due to stress and corrosion, Toyota said in a statement. If the vehicle continues to be used, it could lead to the broken leaf coming in contact with surrounding components, including the fuel tank, and causing a leak, the company said. In the presence of an ignition source, this could result in a fire, the car maker said. Toyota said it was not aware of any injuries to the potential defect, and vehicles that are being recalled belong to model years 2005 to 2011. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back. This is OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford and Addison Townships with the best in local programming. On Charter Channel 191, AT&T UVerse Channel 99, and our website, OCCTV.org. OCTV, we provide local programming that brings you closer to home.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. We're getting closer to election time, and you're going to have an opportunity to meet our school board candidates. You're invited to a forum on Tuesday, October 14th, at the Boulder Point Clubhouse in Waterstone. The event will start at 7 p.m. Each candidate will make a brief presentation with your questions to follow. Oakland County Commissioner Mike Spiz will MC. The Go GOP Club will sponsor it. There are 9 candidates running for 4 open slots. Again, that's Tuesday, October 14th, 7 p.m. at Boulder Point. We paid a visit to Leonard Elementary School this week. It happened to be meeting night for Girls on the Run and the Lego Club. First, Coach Lisa Wells tells us a little about Girls on the Run.
So it's girls grades 3, 4, and 5, and they can join Girls on the Run. It's an after-school program 2 days a week. And what we do is we train for a 5K race in November, and it's 2 parts. We run, and then we do activities to build the girls' confidence, self-esteem, teamwork, all the positive qualities about girls feeling good about themselves, and then we run to incorporate all those skills.
We wish them well with their 5K run coming up. Eric Wright is one of the head coaches of the Lego team out at Leonard. He fills us in on what's going on with them.
This will be the 3rd year. With the first year, we kind of had one team, about 10 kids. And the second year, we had 2 teams. It was a combination of both some of the middle school kids, because this bracket of FLL, First Lego League, covers from ages 9 to 14. So it also spans into competition with some of the middle school students.
That was the next thing I was going to ask you about. Can these kids go to competitions at this age group? Or not?
Yes, they do. Typically, they happen in November and toward December. Last year, they had a regional competition, which kind of was the southeast Michigan area. And we go to those competitions, and they compete in 3 different competition cycles. The first one is the Legos with the robotic building, how we built it, structures, how durable it is, how repeatable it is, the programming of the Lego software. Another stage is the children working with each other, and graceful professionalism is one of the terms coined by Lego, where they work as a team and develop and research a new concept, a new idea, something that can be used and improved in everyday life. And then a third cycle is how well they work together as a team, teamwork, team building, a lot of skills just to kind of work together as a lot of people do in communities.
Their team is part of the FIRST organization, the same group that our high school robotics team is with. Don't Be a Monster was the theme of an assembly over at Oxford Middle School this week. Zach Terabas of Erebus Haunted Attractions was the host. He tells us more.
With the Don't Be a Monster anti-bullying campaign, who are in middle schools throughout the country right now. Actually, this is a national campaign taken on by America Haunts, which is an elite group of haunted houses throughout the nation. And what we're trying to do is show that the monsters that we have in our haunt are made in-house and made pretend for their entertainment and fun, and the real monsters in the schools right now are the bullies.
We checked in with OMS Assistant Principal Carl Sproul to give us a local perspective.
As far as it being like a widespread issue, no, I don't feel that it is. But do we have it? Yes. And are we able to deal with it efficiently? Yes, I do feel that.
So these programs are more proactive than reactive as far as we're concerned.
Yes.
Hey, thank you.
There was even a surprise guest at the assembly. Ooh, that's scary. Dave Kenny's up next with Science in the News, followed by Andy Curtis with Wildcat Sports. Remember to join us for Schooling Around Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. and 11 a.m. on Saturdays. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Losers, pointless, waste of time and money. All these words can and should be used to describe the Detroit Tigers this season. Now, lucky for us fans, though, the old lame cat was put out of its misery Sunday with the Tigers getting swept at home and losing 2-1, being eliminated by from the playoffs by Baltimore. Really, there's nothing more that needs to be said about this season. They spent the money, they made the trades that at the time made us look like a sure pick for the World Series, but the bullpen, poor managing, lack of player depth, and anemic bats caused this team of assembled superstars to fail in just the first round. The bullpen was just so bad. Oh, and speaking of bad, how about the Lions, huh? No, they lost to the Buffalo Bills 17-14 at home this Sunday after new kicker and soon-to-be ex-Lion Alex Henry missed 3 second-half field goals to drop the team to 3-2 on the season. Now, Stafford, he struggled, going 18 for 31 for 221 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 6 sacks. Oh, and of course, Reggie Bush and Calvin Johnson left the game with some injuries. So the offense struggled, sure, and the defense allowed 226 yards in the second half alone. But you know what really sucked? Former head coach and current Bills defensive coordinator James Jimmy Schwartz got carried off the field by a few of his defensive players. I mean, look at this jerk. Who does that? I mean, this was a slight victory over the Lions, and this guy looks like he's headed to Disney World. To make things even better, it came out soon after this that he asked his players to do it. Now, this wasn't a spontaneous celebratory moment from men who respect their leader. No. It was something that Schwartz asked them to do if he won. He asked them to be carried off the field. How about some good news, though, and a team that is worth watching, our varsity football team, who took out their frustration after losing to Clarkson last Friday by stomping a mud hole in Troy and walking it dry Friday night, beating the Colts 42-7. Glacier Wallington went 8 for 13 passing for 66 yards, running for 92 and 3 touchdowns with an 84-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. You know, just to add some icing on the cake. Add 136 yards and 2 touchdowns from Jordan Henry, and the Wildcats had a very good night against their OAA Red Division rival. Now, thanks to Ken Swart, 4 picks from Friday night's game. Now, the other Wildcat football team, the boys varsity soccer, suffered their first loss of the season Monday, dropping a heartbreaking 3-1 game to Lake Orion, scoring their first and only point with 18 minutes, 8 seconds left to play off a 25-yard free kick from Emmanuel Ibarra. Now, the Cats did rebound on Tuesday, beating Hazel Park, but went on to tie Macomb Lutheran North on Friday to put their overall record to an impressive 13-1-2. Their final divisional matchup game is this Tuesday against Southfield Lathrop. Now let's better ourselves with today's sports vocab word of the day. Offsides. Now, offsides is a penalty in football when a player is on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. Now again, I'm Andy Curtis, and remember, you can watch all of our broadcasts of your favorite Oxford High School games between 1 and 6 right here on OCTV, or check us out, as always, at your leisure, online at OCCTV.org. Oh, and now you can make sure you follow us on Twitter at OCTV Sports. There you can follow us as we broadcast from your favorite Oxford High School games. Now, also, if you have a sports idea, feel free to shoot me an email at andrewcurtis23@gmail.com and put OCTV Sports in the subject line. Now, that was all the sports news you need to know. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Now, if you have a local business, or if you're an individual, or if you represent an organization wishing to show your support for our local Oxford School Supports music concerts, or any of the many programs broadcast by our TV station, you could become a sponsor or an underwriter on OCTV. A promotional television spot would be created, and recognition would be given to you by our sports announcers during the event. It's easy and it's quite inexpensive. For more information, contact our TV station manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658, or you can send a message of interest to Bill's email address at manager@occtv.org. That's manager@occtv.org. Now, we at Oxford Community TV would like our television viewing public to learn more about your club or organization's special upcoming event or charity. So, if you would like to get your special event mentioned on our television show, call us at 248-628-9658 or go to our website at occtv.org. Just one final reminder, you can locate our OCTV program schedule by going to our website, occtv.org, and clicking on Schedule. There you will find a list of OCTV broadcast programs, dates and times, and one program I recommend is Bill's Service, who always has interesting local stories and interviews on our Community Access program. Check it out. This is Oxford Community Television OCTV. I'm your host, Elgin Nichols. We invite you to join us again for the next segment of your weekly calendar of events.
Congratulations, OCTV, as the 2014 winner of the American Legion's Best Electronic Media Award. symbolizing your efforts to provide meaningful coverage of veterans' issues and patriotic activities, as well as the American Legion.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, enjoy them while you can. Only half the world's animals are left compared with 40 years ago, mainly because of habitat destruction either by locals for farming or by multinational mineral and timber trades. The biennial Living Planet report, released last week by conservation charity WWF, tracked the fate of 10,000 vertebrate species around the world between 1970 and 2010. It found that the total population of fish, birds, mammals, amphibians, and reptiles has declined by 52% in only 2 generations of humans. Latin America saw the steepest decline, with animal populations falling by 83%. Animals living in freshwater also fared badly, plummeting by 76%. The majority of species extinctions and declines are being driven by human pressures on the environment, both international and local, says Sam Turvey of the Institute of Biology at the Zoology Society in London. WWF Director Marco Lambertini wrote in the report's foreword that the solution could be found within ourselves. We must work to ensure that the upcoming generation can seize the opportunity that we have so far failed to grasp to close this destructive chapter in our history, he said. And over in Russia, the eastern town of Siberian mining town Mirny is home to the second largest excavated hole in the world. The Mir diamond mine operated for 54 years, producing over 10 million carats, and that's 2 metric tons of diamonds per year at its operational peak in the 1960s. It was established in 1957 after geologists discovered traces of kimberlite, a rock known to sometimes contain diamonds. Once excavation was underway, the town of Mirny sprang up. Now closed, the Mir mine once employed 3,600 people. Today, the town's 37,000 inhabitants go about their lives next to a hole 1/3 of a mile deep and 3/4 of a mile wide. The mine's largest diamond was found in 1980. It weighed a whopping 342.5 carats. And on the technology front, send for the sunflower. A solar energy harvester could soon become the first drop-in machine to provide renewable energy, water, and heat to off-grid communities in remote regions. The 10-meter-high sun-tracking dish has been designed to be transported in a single shipping container so it can be delivered to any location. It's being developed by Airlight Energy of Biasca, Switzerland. As well as clean water and electricity, it can generate heat or, with the addition of a heat pump, provide refrigeration. The core technology is a water-cooled solar panel developed by Bruno Michel and his colleagues at IBM, for which Airlight has licensed the patents. Mirrors on the flower-shaped structure direct the sun's rays onto 6 of the panels, where the sunlight that is concentrated 2,000 times. Each panel holds 25-volt photovoltaic chips cooled by water flowing in microchannels underneath. These carry the heat away at a rate that leaves the microchips at their optimal operating temperature. That makes the sunflower more efficient than existing photovoltaic concentrating generators, so it needs 1/4 of the panels to produce the same power. This makes it far cheaper, says Michel. In coastal areas, the heated water can drive a low-temperature desalinator, also developed by IBM. It heats seawater to create vapor that passes through a polymer membrane and then condenses into a separate chamber. The process is then repeated 3 times to extract maximum water. IBM claims this can produce 2,500 liters of fresh water per day. In non-coastal areas, a water purifier could be fitted instead. The structure is designed to keep costs down. Solar mirrors would normally be made of heavy, expensive, polished glass, but here, each 1-meter mirror is made of metallized foil. And that's the same material potato chip and chocolate wrapping is made from, says Ilaria Bazzati of Airlight. If the flow of cooling water fails for any reason, the solar chips could quickly reach 1,500 degrees Celsius and melt. However, a low vacuum keeps the foil mirrors in their concave shape, and releasing this defocuses the sunlight, preventing a solar chip meltdown. Tests of an 18-mirror prototype have shown that on solar energy conversion, the sunflower is 30% efficient, and on heat, 50%, Airlight says. The final 36 mirror sunflower should be available to provide 12 kilowatts of electricity and 20 kilowatts of heat from 10 hours of the sun. The firm is also looking at how to store the energy created, including using rocks to store it as heat so that it can be tapped when needed. Airlight is planning to field test the dish in 7 remote sites likely to be in Morocco and India in early 2016 before the product goes proper to the market on 2017. Airlight says the sunflower's design means it should need minimal maintenance. And that's going to be good news for a lot of people in remote areas. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.